So, members of the jury, like I said to you, I think a couple of weeks ago, sometimes I got to talk to the lawyers for a little bit longer than it takes over here at the sidebar. So this is one of those situations. So I'm going to ask you to go back to the jury room just for a couple of minutes, I think, and then we'll bring you right back in and we'll resume with the testimony. Okay?
Court, all right. Good. No, folks?
All right. So, counsel, what we're going to do is we'll have, just so the record's clear, the jury's out of the room at this point. We will just conduct a short voir dire on the issue that we talked about over at sidebar. I'll allow Mr. Reddington to ask questions at this point, and I'll allow Commonwealth to also ask questions. Go ahead, counsel.
Okay, thank you. So you're in the hospital at Brigham and Women's, correct?
Yes.
And when you're there, with the purpose of obviously with other law officers to enforce the fact that she's in custody, Dr. Zeisel, or a doctor, came in pursuant to a court order, right?
Yes.
All right. And obviously had been cleared through security and went into the room where Lindsay was laying on the bed, right?
Yes.
You don't know, or you don't recall, if he closed the door or if he kept the door open or it was half open. You just don't remember, right?
Yes.
Okay. Would you agree with me that in the course of preparing this case for trial, that you have worked and collaborated with the prosecutors, the two district attorneys, correct?
Yes.
And you guys would talk about theories of the case and evidence that they want you to run down perhaps as an investigator or try to obtain, or interviews and things of that nature, right?
Yes.
And one of the theories that they had indicated to you is that Patrick Clancy had indicated to the investigators and to the grand jury, I believe, that Lindsay called him from the hospital, right?
I recall that.
And that Lindsay used that doctor's cell phone to call him from the hospital, right?
Yes.
And they basically had a theory that they wanted to run with, that Zeisel told her, Lindsay, to say that she heard voices, right?
I don't know if it's a theory or not. I just recall that conversation at some point.
Okay, so when was the conversation?
I don't recall exactly when.
Do you remember where the conversation was?
No.
You know, okay.
I'm assuming at the office. I just don't recall specifically when.
And who was it you were talking to?
Probably could have been one of the troopers in the office working the case.
One of the troopers, is it McElligan?
Probably he's the case officer, so I imagine it probably would have been with him, sir.
Probably could have been him.
Yeah.
How about any of the prosecutors? You talked to the DAs about that?
I don't recall specifically speaking to a prosecutor about this.
Well, how about not necessarily specifically, but do you have any memory of talking to the prosecutor about, quote, this, end quote?
No.
So what is it that your memory is that the trooper, whoever it may have been, or the investigator from the state police may have been, what did that person tell you?
That at some point when Lindsay was in the hospital with the doctor and the court order, that she made a phone call to Patrick and they discussed circumstances of the case, and that he was interviewed later on and communicated his phone call to, I believe, Trooper McElligan.
And what did McElligan tell you about the conversation? What the theory or the understanding was that
during the conversation, Lindsay communicated to Patrick that she had heard voices in her head.
and there was also the conversation regarding the psychologist is basically the one that planted that idea in her head, right?
The conversation between Trooper McElligan and I?
Yeah.
I don't recall that specifically. I just recall the facts that communicate to me that there was a phone call between Lindsay and Patrick.
Okay, you already said that, and I apologize. I don't mean to cut you off, but let's cut to the chase.
Yeah.
What I'm asking you are voices. You know what that means when someone hears voices, right?
Yes.
You may not hear voices. I may not hear voices, but some people might hear voices, right?
Yeah.
That was discussed with McElligan, wasn't it?
Yes.
And what is it that he discussed with you about Lindsay hearing voices?
That's what she had told Patrick on the phone call, that she heard voices.
And when she told Patrick that she heard that on the phone call, the prosecution determined that it was Zeisel, or whoever that doctor was, you don't recall, that told her to say that for some type of a defense, right?
I don't know what the prosecution determined. All I can say, that's what I recall, the conversation between Lindsay and Patrick.
Okay. About when
The voices.
The voices.
Yeah.
And the conversation also included the fact that it was the psychologist that planted that idea in her mind. That's the theory, isn't it?
That would be the theory, but I don't recall having...
So, wait. Your answer is that would be the theory, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Agreeing with you that that's
Okay.
what was discussed.
All right. And this would be you and is it McElligan?
McElligan.
McElligan.
Yes, sir.
And you're unable to assist us, though, with any of the detail. You do recall that there was a conversation about that.
Correct.
And in the conversation, it was about the conversation that Lindsay had with her husband, indicating about voices, right?
Correct.
Using the psychologist's cell phone, right?
Correct.
And there was an indication that the psychologist told her to basically say that. You just told us yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's all I have.
Bucky.
Sergeant Weller, at the time that you were at the Brigham Hospital and at the time the doctor came in, you didn't know anything about a theory of the case, correct?
No.
And you didn't know or overhear anything in outside that room about conversations between the doctor and the defendant, did you?
Correct.
And you indicated that you never had a conversation with the prosecution about their theory of the case, did you?
Did not.
So anything that you recall was simply conversation with another trooper in the unit.
Correct.
And as you sit here in your testimony today and testify about your memory of that particular night, is anything about that conversation with Sergeant McGilligan guiding your testimony?
No.
You changed, or your memory changed as to that incident after you had this conversation with Trooper McGilligan, Sergeant McGilligan. And in fact, you don't know anything about whether there's any evidence about Dr. Zeisel giving or prompting the defendant to have that conversation with her husband, do you?
No.
All you know factually is what came out of the investigation from what Patrick said the call was and who he said the call was from and how the call occurred, correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
So, let me,
Yeah, please.
so basically, my contention is that you're obviously up here testifying as honestly as you can. It's pretty apparent, right?
Yes.
And you're very consistent with your oath, and you understand that it's important. And you're trying to, it may be difficult, but you're trying to explain what your memory is about conversation with the lead investigator, McGilligan, right? I mean, you're trying to tell us what your memory is, right?
Yes.
So your testimony pertains to your conversation with the lead investigator, McGilligan. It's got nothing to do with the fact that you don't recall this or you don't recall that. What you've testified to is for the judge to consider, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's all I have.
All right. Why don't we do this? I'm going to take about a 10-minute break at this point. And we'll come back out and we will resume cross-examination. Okay?